Have you ever noticed how every time you finally start to heal, something reminds you of what you lost? Like the story itself refuses to end, you call it unfinished. But Allah calls it complete because He doesn't write stories the way we do. We chase what looks beautiful now, but He writes for what will still be beautiful years from now. This is not just another video. This is the final chapter of the pain you've been carrying. Watch till the very end. Because before this hour is over, you'll finally feel peace with every why that's been haunting you. The power of silent patience. When they hurt you, when they lie about you, when they twist your silence to make you look weak, don't panic. Don't rush to defend yourself. Because the moment you fight noise with more noise, you lose the gift that Allah gave you, the calm heart that sees beyond chaos. Patience is not silence because you have no words. It's silence because your words are too sacred to be wasted on small minds. You could destroy them with truth, but you choose to let truth destroy them by itself. You could shout your side of the story, but you choose peace. Because peace doesn't need an audience, it needs trust. There's something terrifying about a person who doesn't react. The one who doesn't take revenge, who doesn't chase, who doesn't try to prove. That person has already seen what most people never do. They've seen how Allah works in silence. They've tasted how His timing makes justice sweeter than any argument ever could. When you stay patient, you make the enemy question themselves. You make them wonder how you can stay so calm after everything. They'll think you don't care, but the truth is you just care more about your peace than their drama. You've learned that every word you speak in anger takes away the reward Allah wrote for your restraint. They will try to provoke you again and again. They will push every button, hoping you'll break your calm and lower yourself to their level. But the one who trusts Allah doesn't lower himself, he rises above. Even when he's hurting, he says nothing, not because he's scared, but because he knows the one who sees all is already watching. You have to understand, this silence is not empty. It's full of unseen power. It's full of angels writing down your patience. It's full of hidden plans being written for your favor. Every time you stay quiet when you could have shouted, Allah moves something in your life. Every time you walk away when you could have fought, He opens a door that your anger would have kept closed. Sometimes people take your calmness as permission. They think you'll tolerate forever. They think they can keep crossing lines without consequence. But they don't see what's happening in the background. They don't see the mercy that's slowly turning into justice. They don't see how their own words are becoming their downfall. And you stay steady. You let them speak. You let them show who they are. Because eventually, truth has a way of surfacing, even in the middle of lies. And when it does, the same silence they mocked will become your crown. The same patience they laughed at will become your proof that Allah never left your side. There's a moment when the storm gets loudest. That's when patience feels hardest. Your heart screams for release. You want to defend, to argue, to explain. But then a whisper crosses your mind. Stay still. Allah is not done yet. That whisper saves you. Because every test of patience is a test of belief. Do you believe that Allah saw it? Do you believe He'll handle it better than you ever could? If yes, then your silence becomes worship. Patience is not about keeping quiet once, it's about staying quiet again and again. Every time they try you, you pass a spiritual test. Every time you walk away, your rank in the unseen world rises. It's not easy, you'll cry, you'll question, you'll feel invisible. But remember, Allah hides those He's about to honor. He delays noise to prepare greatness. Your silence doesn't mean you've lost. It means you've chosen peace over pride. It means you've trusted the process more than the moment. People see silence as surrender, but Allah sees it as strength. He sees the fire burning inside you that you refuse to unleash. He knows how much it hurts to stay calm when you want to scream, and He rewards that pain with something that can't be bought, peace of the soul. The truth is, patience isn't for everyone. Most people react because they don't trust what they can't see. They want immediate results, instant validation, quick justice. But the believer knows justice delayed by Allah is justice multiplied. The longer he takes, the more complete the outcome will be. The longer you wait, the greater your story will sound when it's told later. Think about the ones who mocked you, ignored you, or betrayed you. You didn't curse them. You didn't expose them. You simply said, Allah knows. That sentence alone is more powerful than any argument you could have made, because it transfers the entire case from your hands to His, and once it's in His hands, it's over. It's strange how peace disarms people. They expect you to argue, but you smile. They expect you to fall apart, but you rise. They expect tears, but you walk with quiet strength. They don't know that your silence isn't you ignoring them. It's you listening to Allah louder than them. Sometimes Allah hides your response to protect your peace. Because if you had said everything you wanted to say, you would have lost the quiet power He was trying to build inside you. Your calmness is not passive, it's spiritual discipline. It's proof that you're not fighting for the world's validation anymore. You're fighting for your own peace with Allah. And you'll notice something beautiful. The more patient you become, the more peaceful your world feels. Arguments will sound like noise. Drama will feel childish. Revenge will look meaningless. Because once you've tasted the power of staying silent for Allah's sake, everything else feels small. In silence, you hear your own heart again. You realize how much energy you used to waste trying to be understood by people who were never listening. You realize that not every fight deserves your presence. Some battles are won simply by leaving the field and letting Allah take over. You may not see it right now, but your silence is building something divine. It's changing your destiny quietly. It's protecting you from battles that would have broken you. It's aligning you with peace that others will never understand. And one day, when all is revealed, when truth comes out in its perfect timing, you look back and realize why Allah told you to stay quiet. Because He wasn't asking you to do nothing. He was asking you to trust Him enough to let Him do everything. That's when you'll understand the most powerful people in this world are not the loudest. They are the ones who carry storms inside them and still smile in silence. Time is Allah's hidden weapon. When you feel wronged, the first thing your heart wants is quick justice. You want to see the truth revealed right now. You want the ones who hurt you to taste the same pain they gave you. But time, that silent, invisible force, has already begun to move in ways you can't see. Time is Allah's secret soldier. It doesn't shout, it doesn't rush, but it never misses. It works quietly, dismantling falsehood one moment at a time. It exposes hearts without noise. It lifts truth without needing proof. Every sunrise carries messages you can't read yet. Every passing week rearranges destinies behind the curtain. You may think nothing is changing, but time is building your justice like dawn builds light, slowly, beautifully, surely. The people who hurt you think they're getting away with it. They laugh, they move on, they act as if nothing happened. But time listens, it records, it remembers. You see, Allah doesn't rush because He's not forgetful. He delays because He's perfect. He lets time reveal what emotions would have ruined if given too soon. That's why patience feels so heavy. You're living in a world of now, but Allah is preparing a result that will last forever. Every moment you choose not to fight, time is fighting for you. Every hour you keep faith while the world doubts you, time is collecting evidence on your behalf. Time isn't your enemy, it's your lawyer, your witness, your divine defense. Think about it. How many times have people acted unfairly toward you, and months later the truth simply appeared without you lifting a finger? That's not coincidence. That's time doing its job. That's justice taking the long road, because quick revenge gives satisfaction, but delayed justice gives peace. Sometimes Allah uses time to test how much you trust Him. He'll keep you in the waiting room of life while the guilty seem to celebrate. He'll watch how you behave when you can't see progress. Do you still believe He's working? Do you still hold your dignity? Or do you fall apart because the world is loud and Allah is silent? But silence isn't absence. Silence is the sound of a masterpiece being painted. Time is the brush and your patience is the canvas. Those who mocked you today will one day remember every word they said. And when the truth finally arrives, they won't even recognize the strength that time built inside you. Because you won't want revenge anymore, you'll be too healed for it. Time doesn't just expose others, it heals you. It softens your heart where pain once lived. It teaches you that what once broke you actually trained you. And while you were waiting for Allah to punish them, He was busy upgrading you into someone they can't reach anymore. They think you lost because they moved ahead faster. But what they don't see is that speed means nothing when you're on the wrong path. Time is building something eternal for you. And sometimes that means slowing you down so you don't crash. There will come a day when you look back and say, I thought I was being delayed, but I was being delivered. You'll realize time wasn't against you, it was protecting you. Every delay that made you cry, every silence that broke your heart, was time preparing you for a stage they were never meant to stand on. Imagine if Allah had answered your anger the moment you felt it. How many times would you have ruined your own peace just to feel temporary power? But He loves you too much to let you act small. He keeps you waiting, not to punish you, but to purify you. Time has a way of humbling everyone. The proud forget that arrogance ages badly. The deceitful forget that lies rot over time. But the patient, their value increases like gold. The longer they wait, the brighter they shine. When you choose patience, you're saying, I trust the unseen clock more than my pain right now. And that single decision separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. You may not see it, but while you wait, Allah is removing the power of your enemies. He's letting them speak more, reveal more, and trap themselves in their own arrogance. You don't need to fight them. Time will make them fight their own reflection. Sometimes you'll feel forgotten. You'll see others moving ahead and think, why not me? But remember, their race started early because their ending will come sooner. Your story is being written with endurance, not entertainment. And when time finally catches up, it won't just vindicate you, it will transform you. Time changes everything, the seasons, the hearts, the perspectives. What hurt you today will be your wisdom tomorrow. What delayed you this year will define you next year. Because every second in Allah's timeline is loaded with purpose. Don't rush divine timing. Don't demand early outcomes from eternal plans. The same delay that feels painful today is the delay that saves you from disasters you can't see. Time has seen kings rise and fall. It has watched loud people fade into silence and silent people rise into greatness. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to keep walking while others waste energy running in circles. Your patience is what bends time in your favor. Every time you say, I'll wait, the universe rearranges to fit your endurance. Every second you hold your peace, Allah writes new outcomes in your book. So let time do what it does best, reveal. Reveal who was real. Reveal who used you. Reveal who stood by you. Reveal the version of you that could only exist through waiting. The ones who mocked your delays will one day ask you for advice. The ones who laughed at your patience will one day admire your peace. Because time doesn't forget anyone, it just waits for the perfect moment to remind. The person you are today is the proof that time never wasted your pain. All those silent nights, all those unanswered prayers were not empty, they were investments. And time under Allah's command gives the highest returns. So stop rushing the story, stop begging for closure. Stop trying to fast forward what Allah designed to unfold slowly. The more you trust time, the more powerful you become. Because time is not your enemy. It's your unseen ally. It's the patient servant of divine justice. And one day, when all the pieces fall into place, you'll understand why waiting was the most sacred thing you ever did. When you don't react, Allah responds. When someone attacks your peace, your heart instantly wants to defend itself. You want to explain, to clear your name, to make them understand what really happened. You want to speak because silence feels like losing. But in that moment, the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. Because when you stop reacting, heaven starts responding. When you close your mouth, Allah opens doors that words could never unlock. The moment you choose restraint over revenge, angels start recording strength, not weakness. The world tells you that silence means surrender. But the truth is, silence is surrender to Allah, and that's the highest form of victory. It's saying, I trust you to fight for me better than I ever could. When you stop defending yourself, He defends you in ways you'll never see coming. A rumor fades, a lie collapse. A heart that once hated you suddenly turns soft. All of this happens quietly, not because you shouted, but because you didn't. Every time you react, you give energy to what hurt you. But every time you hold back, you reclaim it. Your silence takes the fuel out of their fire. Your patience starves their ego. And without realizing, you start winning a war that was never meant to be fought with words. They'll keep waiting for you to break. They'll keep checking if you finally responded. But your stillness will confuse them. Your calmness will haunt them. Because people who thrive on chaos cannot understand peace. When you stop reacting, you become untouchable. You take your power back without saying a word. And in that quiet space, Allah begins to move. He begins to expose. He begins to balance what was unfair. He replaces the urge to shout with the peace to smile. He takes the weight of proving yourself off your shoulders. And you finally realize that the truth doesn't need your voice. It already has His timing. There are moments when holding your tongue feels like swallowing fire. You shake, you cry, you feel like bursting. But remember, every second you hold back, the heavens are writing something beautiful for you. Because it takes strength to walk away when your heart wants to fight. It takes faith to let silence speak for you. And it's in that silence where Allah's justice starts to bloom. He doesn't need your defense, He needs your trust. Because the more you react, the longer the storm lasts. But the more you trust, the sooner it ends. The Prophet ﷺ's peace wasn't loud, it was patient. He taught us that real control isn't how fast you speak, it's how deeply you breathe before you do. So when you feel the heat of anger rise, remind yourself this moment isn't yours to fix. It's Allah's to transform. There's a hidden peace that comes when you realize you don't have to explain yourself anymore. The truth will always outlive the lies. You just have to let Allah decide the timing. Sometimes, the best way to answer is not to answer at all. Your silence tells them, you can't pull me into your darkness. It tells them, my worth isn't up for your debate. And when they see that their words no longer affect you, they'll either fall silent or fall apart. It hurts, doesn't it? To know you could destroy them with one sentence, but you choose not to. To hear your name twisted and stay calm. To watch people believe lies about you and still keep your heart clean. That's not weakness, that's divine discipline. You're not ignoring injustice, you're rising above it. You're not avoiding truth, you're protecting your peace. Because Allah doesn't forget. And when He responds in ways that silence the world. He doesn't need to humiliate them in public. Sometimes He just removes their peace. He lets them live in the chaos they created. And you, the one they tried to destroy, walk quietly into a new chapter they'll never be part of. Every person who ever wronged you will one day remember your silence. Not because it made them proud, but because it made them realize you were never fighting them. You were being protected from them. There's power in restraint. It's invisible, but it shakes everything around you. When you stay calm, you invite wisdom. When you react, you invite regret. And once you understand that difference, peace becomes your permanent response. You'll start to notice silence is not just something you do, it's something you become. It becomes your armor, your identity, your strength. You begin to outgrow the need to be understood, and instead you crave to be guided. You stop saying they'll see one day, and you start saying Allah knows already. That single shift changes your whole life. Because when you stop reacting, you allow divine timing to breathe. You make room for Allah to surprise you. And He always does not with small justice, but with poetic justice. The kind that makes you cry in gratitude, not pride. You'll see things turn around slowly. The same people who try to ruin your name will start slipping from relevance. The same hearts that mocked you will start to feel the weight of their actions. And you'll watch it unfold, not with excitement, but with peace. Because by then, you'll have moved on. You'll realize that Allah's response isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's replacement. He removes you from what was unworthy and gives you something far greater. He shows you that peace is the greatest revenge of all. Your calmness is not invisibility, it's protection. You're not being overlooked. You're being reserved for something better. While you wait, Allah is setting the stage. While you keep quiet, He's preparing the moment when everything will make sense. And when it happens, it won't be loud. It won't be dramatic. It will be silent, just like you were. You'll see doors open that confusion once closed. You'll see people who doubted you start respecting you again. And you won't even need to say, I told you so, because your peace will say it for you. When you stop reacting, you rise above the limits of human justice. You start walking on divine ground. You start living in peace that nothing external can disturb. So the next time someone provokes you, breathe. Look up and whisper, Ya Rab, you saw that. Then move on quietly, gracefully, powerfully, because the battle is already handled. And when Allah responds, no one can argue. Their evil becomes their undoing. They think they've hurt you. They think their lies have power. They think their betrayal has buried you. But what they don't realize is that their own hands are writing their downfall. Every bit of evil they throw at you becomes a seed. And Allah never lets a seed die. He decides what grows from it. When the seed is hatred, it grows into their regret. When the seed is betrayal, it grows into their loneliness. When the seed is injustice, it grows into their exposure. They thought they buried you under dirt, but Allah was only planting you. And while they celebrated your silence, He was using that same silence to water your strength. The one they tried to humiliate, He chose to elevate. The one they mocked, He prepared for greatness. The one they tried to erase, He wrote deeper into destiny. People think evil wins because it makes noise. But evil destroys itself slowly, quietly, painfully. Because what's built on lies has no spine. What's built on deceit has no soul. And what's built on ego always collapses beneath its own weight. They will keep talking, but watch closely. Their own words will start turning against them. Their stories won't add up. Their actions will betray their smiles. Their peace will vanish because peace never lives with guilt. You don't need to curse them. You don't need to chase them. Their destruction is already built into the evil they chose, because sin always carries its own punishment. When someone wrongs you, they think they're clever, but every injustice sets off a chain reaction they can't control. First comes arrogance, they think they've won. Then comes denial, they convince themselves they were right. Then comes silence, the world stops clapping. And finally comes reality, the weight of what they did returns to them. They'll wake up one day and realize they didn't win. They only lost the right to peace. And you, the one they thought was broken, will be standing in quiet strength, healed, elevated, untouchable. Don't waste time wishing for revenge. Revenge is too small for what Allah has planned. When He takes over, He doesn't just make things right. He makes things poetic. He lets their plans collapse in the very way they plotted yours. He lets them taste their own medicine, not from you, but from life itself. Their evil becomes their teacher. Their schemes become their mirrors. And their guilt becomes their prison. You won't have to lift a hand. You won't even have to say a word. The same energy they use to harm you will return home with interest. Have you ever noticed how some people can't rest? How they keep moving from one person to another, one fight to the next. That's not busyness, that's restlessness. That's what happens when a person runs from their own guilt. They destroyed peace in others, so Allah took peace away from them. That's why your silence is power. Because while they waste energy justifying, you're growing quietly. While they run from truth, you're becoming it. And one day, your light will bother them more than your presence ever did. Every evil plan is like a boomerang. The harder they throw it, the faster it comes back. That's the divine law. You don't need to interfere, you just need to step aside. Some people will fall not because you exposed them, but because they exposed themselves through time. Their lives will tangle, their relationships will crumble, their reputation will fade. And when they finally realize it, they'll remember your silence. They'll remember the day they laughed while you cried. And that memory will become their punishment. When you do good, Allah multiplies it. When they do evil, Allah magnifies its consequences. That's how justice works. Quiet, steady, inevitable. You may not see it now. You may feel like evil people keep winning. But wait, time doesn't let arrogance stay undefeated for long. There's always a moment when truth walks in like light into a dark room, and the darkness has no choice but to flee. It might take months or years, but it will come. The same lips that mocked you will tremble when they say your name again. Not because you cursed them, but because Allah turned their pride into regret. And the beauty of divine justice is this: you won't even want them to suffer anymore. You'll be too healed, too peaceful, too grown. Their downfall will no longer matter. You'll simply feel sorry for them because you'll understand now they were never your enemies, they were your builders. Their cruelty trained your patience. Their rejection revealed your worth. Their betrayal redirected your life. Their evil became your teacher. Sometimes Allah lets people mistreat you so you can learn what real power looks like. Power that doesn't scream, doesn't beg, doesn't fight. It simply waits. Because nothing scares a guilty soul more than the one who stays calm while everything burns. You will not need to explain how they fell. People will see it. They'll see how the one who once mocked mercy now cries for it. How the one who broke others now breaks alone. How the one who laughed at patience now begs for a second chance. That's not your doing, that's Allah's. He writes every story with poetic endings. He lets evil decorate its own downfall. And when it finally collapses, He makes sure you're far away, smiling, healed, and grateful that you didn't lose your soul trying to win a fight. He was already winning for you. Patience is a warrior's discipline. Every warrior has a weapon. Some fight with words, some fight with pride, but the believer fights with patience. Patience is the weapon that never runs out of strength. It's silent, invisible, and sharp enough to cut through any storm. It's not given to the weak, it's forged in fire. And the only way to earn it is to be tested again and again. When life strikes, you don't swing back, you hold your ground. When people insult you, you don't lower yourself, you stand taller. Because patience isn't sitting quietly, it's standing firmly while the world shakes. You see, a real warrior doesn't fight every battle. He studies the field. He knows when to move and when to stay still. That's what patience is. It's strategy. It's knowing that some wars are won not by attacking, but by waiting for the enemy to destroy themselves. When you choose patience, you are choosing strength. You are saying, I refuse to let their chaos control me. You're saying, I fight for peace, not for ego. Patience doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. It's the moment you realize you don't have to fight to win. You just have to keep standing until Allah flips the table in your favor. Every insult you ignore, every temptation you resist, every time you hold your tongue when your heart is burning, you're building armor around your soul. You're training your heart to obey faith, not emotions. Patience turns pain into purpose. It makes your scars sacred. It gives meaning to moments that once made you want to give up. The one who is patient doesn't look for quick victory. He knows real victory comes with timing. Because if you get what you want too soon, you might lose what you were meant to learn. Patience is not a pause in your story, it's the chapter that defines it. It's the quiet part where Allah trains you, teaches you how to control your temper, how to hold your peace, how to fight without hatred. You will meet people who will try to break that patience. They'll provoke you, twist your words, test your limits, and every time you stay calm, it burns them. Because they can't control someone who controls himself. Every time you don't react, you win. Every time you choose peace, you grow. Every time you walk away, you rise. A warrior doesn't need to be seen. He needs to be disciplined. And that's what patience teaches you. How to win battles no one even knows you're fighting. It teaches you that sometimes the most heroic thing you can do is not to fight at all. When you're angry, patience whispers, wait. When you're tired, it whispers, keep going. When you're hopeless, it whispers, trust the unseen. And in that whisper lies everything. Patience is not about staying silent once. It's about staying silent again and again until your silence becomes strength. It's what separates the wise from the reckless, the chosen from the ordinary. You'll realize that real warriors don't need an audience. They fight in private. They bleed in silence. They heal in prayer. And then they rise calm, composed, untouchable. That's the strength patience gives. It takes the anger that once made you reckless and turns it into focus. It takes the pain that once broke you and turns it into discipline. Most people confuse patience with waiting. But waiting is what weak people do when they have no choice. Patience is what strong people do when they do have a choice and still choose peace. The one who is patient controls his emotions like a blade. He uses it carefully. He doesn't react out of impulse. He responds out of wisdom. He knows that every second of restraint is another brick in the fortress Allah is building for him. You might cry while being patient. You might scream in silence. You might question why the test keeps repeating. But every tear is sharpening your soul. Every hardship is molding your heart. Every delay is teaching you control. You're not being punished, you're being trained. You're being prepared for a level of peace that can't exist in someone who reacts to everything. And the more disciplined you become, the less noise will bother you. You'll stop explaining yourself. You'll stop proving yourself because you'll realize that peace is proof enough. They'll call you cold. They'll say you've changed. But that's what patience does. It replaces reactions with reflection and noise with clarity. A warrior who moves too quickly loses his balance. But the one who moves with patience can walk through fire and still look unbothered. That's you. That's what you're becoming. So when the test feels unbearable, don't ask why me. Ask what is Allah building inside me through this. Because every test has a hidden lesson. And patience is how you unlock it. You don't realize it now, but your restraint is shaping your destiny. Every time you resist anger, you gain a new kind of strength that others can't see. It's not visible in your body, it lives in your soul. That's the strength of warriors who fight silently. They win without fighting, they rise without noise, they lead without needing to be seen. You can feel it, the quiet kind of confidence that doesn't need validation. That's what patience gives. It's not loud, it's not showy, it's calm, steady, unstoppable. You've probably noticed this. People who are patient have a different glow. They speak softly, but their presence is heavy. They don't talk much, but when they do, everyone listens. Because their peace carries the weight of discipline. And that kind of strength can't be faked, it can only be earned. So hold your patience like a sword, use it wisely. Don't let anger make you weak. Don't let pride make you loud. You don't have to fight to prove your worth. You just have to stand tall long enough for truth to reveal itself. And when it does, you'll realize every moment of restraint was building the version of you that the old you could never become. Forgiveness is freedom, not surrender. When someone breaks you, forgiveness feels impossible. It feels like letting them win. It feels like saying their actions didn't matter. But forgiveness isn't saying it didn't hurt. It's saying it will not own me anymore. Forgiveness is not a gift to them. It's a release for you. It's the moment you stop dragging their shadow into your tomorrow. Because every time you replay what they did, you relive what you survived. At first, anger feels stronger. It keeps you warm. It makes you feel in control. But anger burns too long. It starts consuming the hand that holds it. And before you know it, your heart becomes heavy with memories that should have been buried. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's remembering without hate. It's being able to think about what happened without feeling fire in your chest. It's when the story still exists, but the pain has lost its voice. There comes a point when you realize that revenge won't heal you. It may give you a moment of satisfaction, but that satisfaction fades and the wound remains. So you turn inward and you whisper to yourself, I'm tired of hurting for what they did. That whisper, that's the start of healing. That's the moment forgiveness begins to bloom. It doesn't happen overnight. Some days you'll feel like you've let go, and the next, a memory will rip the wound open again. That's okay. Forgiveness is a journey, not an announcement. It's walking through the same pain until one day it stops hurting. Forgiveness doesn't make you weak. It proves how strong your heart is. Because it's harder to stay soft in a world that teaches revenge. It's harder to love after being betrayed. It's harder to smile when you remember how easily they walked away. But you do it anyway. Not because they deserve peace, but because you do. Sometimes you forgive because you finally understand that everyone acts from their own wounds. They didn't hurt you because you were worthless. They hurt you because they were lost. Because broken people break others. Because they didn't know how to love without destroying. You stop expecting apologies that will never come. You stop waiting for closure that was never yours to begin with. You give that weight to Allah and suddenly your chest feels lighter. That's what forgiveness feels like, lightness. It's the kind of peace that no apology could ever bring. It's waking up one morning and realizing the pain doesn't control you anymore. You see their name and your heart doesn't race. You hear their story and your eyes don't fill with tears. You've finally broken the chain. You're not erasing what happened. You're reclaiming your power from it. Because what they did was their choice. But holding on to it, that's yours. You might think forgiving them means letting them back in. It doesn't. Forgiveness doesn't require reunion. It just means you're done carrying the poison they left behind. You can forgive someone and still never speak to them again. Because forgiveness is not reconciliation, it's release. The most dangerous kind of pain is the one you hold in silence. The kind you replay when no one's watching. Forgiveness breaks that loop. It tells your heart, we're done replaying this movie. The ones who wronged you don't know how much power they still have over you until you forgive them. Because the moment you release them, they lose their hold. They no longer decide your mood, your peace, or your joy. They become a memory, and memories can't hurt a healed soul. You'll notice how the world starts to shift once you forgive. The weight leaves your shoulders. Your prayers feel lighter. Even your smile feels more real, because forgiveness reopens the doors that bitterness locked. And here's something most people don't realize. Forgiveness protects you from becoming what you hate. Without it, pain changes you in the wrong way. It makes you suspicious of everyone, even the ones who love you. It makes you hard when Allah made you gentle. But when you forgive, you keep your soul clean. You keep your softness sacred. You become what the enemy could never be at peace. It's easy to curse someone who hurt you, but it's harder and holier to say, may Allah guide them. That's not weakness, that's power, because it means they couldn't drag you down to their level. You begin to realize that forgiveness isn't about proving you're better, it's about proving you're free. You can look back without bleeding. You can smile at a chapter that once made you cry, and that smile means you've won. Every wound that ever hurt you becomes part of your wisdom. Every heartbreak that tried to end you becomes a doorway to empathy. You start to thank Allah for what He removed, because now you see it was never rejection, it was redirection. When you forgive, you grow. Your soul stretches in ways pain never could. You learn that mercy isn't just something Allah gives you, it's something He teaches you to give others. You stop seeing people as villains and start seeing them as mirrors. Some reflect your pain, others reflect your growth. You'll know you've truly forgiven when your heart stops explaining what happened. When you no longer need anyone to understand your side. Because peace has made explanation unnecessary. You just let go and somehow it's enough. You can't carry revenge and faith in the same heart. One will always choke the other. And when you choose forgiveness, faith breathes again. It fills the spaces that pain once owned. Forgiveness is like taking off armor you've worn for too long. At first, you feel exposed, vulnerable. But soon, you realize you can finally breathe. You forgive because you deserve peace more than you deserve revenge. You forgive because you're tired of being attached to a version of yourself that was constantly in pain. You forgive because your heart was built for something higher than hate. And as you release them, you begin to notice something beautiful. You're not angry anymore. You're not bitter anymore. You're not chasing justice anymore. You're simply living, and that's what forgiveness really is, the permission to live again. You'll start walking lighter. You laugh without guilt. You'll see beauty in moments that once felt empty, because forgiveness clears the lens through which you see the world. The more you forgive, the clearer everything becomes. Sometimes you forgive someone who isn't even sorry. That's the hardest kind, the kind that requires faith, not fairness. You tell yourself, they may never change, but I will. And that's enough. Your peace doesn't need their apology. Your healing doesn't depend on their regret. Because forgiveness is a conversation between you and Allah, not you and them. Delay is not denial, it's design. Sometimes it feels like life is moving for everyone but you. You see people getting what you've been praying for. You see doors opening for others while yours stay locked. And in that quiet space between effort and result, doubt starts whispering. Maybe Allah forgot you. Maybe you're not chosen. Maybe you're just unlucky. But delay is not denial, it's design. It's not Allah saying no. It's Allah saying not yet, because I'm still preparing what you asked for and who you need to become before you receive it. Every delay has two sides, the visible and the unseen. The visible makes you restless. The unseen builds what you can't yet handle. The visible makes you question, but the unseen is where your story is being built piece by piece. You think you're waiting for something, but sometimes the thing you're waiting for is waiting for you to grow enough to hold it. You can't rush divine architecture. You can't pressure perfection. When Allah writes your story, He doesn't just want to give you what you want. He wants to give it to you in a way that doesn't destroy you. If you had received what you prayed for the moment you asked, you might have lost it. You might have mishandled it. You might have worshipped the blessing instead of the one who gave it. So instead, He delays, not to punish you, to protect you. He slows you down so He can build you up. The weight feels heavy, I know. You cry, you pray, you wake up hoping today is the day. And when it's not, your heart breaks a little more. But what you don't see is that while you're waiting, Allah is quietly aligning circumstances you couldn't even imagine. He's softening hearts you don't know yet. He's moving people out of your way. He's polishing your character so that when the blessing arrives, it doesn't break you, it fits you. You see, some people receive early and collapse under success. But those who receive through delay learn how to handle destiny with humility. The delay teaches you how to wait with faith instead of frustration. Every time you wonder, why not me? Remember that Allah never says no to something good without giving something better. Even if that better thing comes in the form of patience, peace, or protection, the delay isn't wasting your time. It's shaping your soul. It's carving depth into your character. It's teaching you that what's meant for you will never need chasing. It will arrive when you're ready, not when you're desperate. And that's the difference between divine timing and human timing. We want comfort. Allah wants completion. We want speed. Allah wants strength. We want blessings. Allah wants transformation. He delays the outcome to build the version of you who can live with that outcome. He delays the relationship to build the person who can love properly. He delays the success to build the one who can handle pressure without pride. He delays the dream to teach the dreamer that blessings are responsibilities, not trophies. The delay is a mirror. It reflects how much you truly trust Him. Anyone can praise Allah when prayers are answered, but only a few can praise Him while they wait in silence. That's where faith grows roots in the waiting room of the unseen. Every unanswered prayer whispers, I'm not ignored, I'm being prepared. You might not understand now, but one day you look back and realize the waiting saved you. It kept you from rushing into what would have ruined you. It turned your impatience into wisdom, your fear into focus, your pain into purpose. It's strange, isn't it? How you cry for something and then months later you thank Allah for not giving it to you when you wanted it. That's what divine delay does. It rewrites your understanding of mercy. When Allah withholds, He's not depriving, He's designing. He's reordering things around you so that what's meant for you finds you at the right time, not the wrong one. Because the right thing at the wrong time can still destroy peace. You have to learn to trust pauses as much as you trust progress. Because sometimes the stillness is protection. Sometimes the silence is an answer. Sometimes the delay is the door you didn't know you needed. He's not making you wait to break you. He's making you wait to bless you differently. He's teaching you that miracles don't always appear suddenly. Sometimes they grow slowly, in silence, like seeds beneath the soil. You never see the roots grow, but without them, the tree would never stand. That's how patience works. It builds roots you can't see before giving fruit the world can admire. When you feel like nothing's moving, remember that Allah's timing is never late, it's layered. Every piece connects to another. Every delay you cry over is building alignment you'll thank Him for later. The day will come when everything suddenly makes sense. Why He delayed that opportunity, why He ended that friendship, why He closed that door, why He let you cry when all you wanted was relief. And in that moment, you realize nothing was random. Every delay had a lesson. Every silence had a reason. Every heartbreak had a hidden upgrade. Allah didn't ignore you. He was busy customizing the blessing so it wouldn't slip through your hands when it arrived. You may not see the design now, but you will. Because design always reveals itself after discipline. That's the beauty of waiting. It teaches you how to see what haste could never show you. So when the delay starts to hurt, whisper this to yourself. I'm not being punished, I'm being positioned. I'm not being forgotten, I'm being fortified. I'm not being denied, I'm being designed. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing that the author of time knows exactly when to turn the page. Your chapter is coming, and when it does, you'll understand why it took so long. Because the delay didn't hold you back, it prepared the world for your arrival. It shaped your story into something sacred. And when Allah finally says, now, it won't just feel right, it will feel divine. When the waiting stretches too long, your heart begins to ache. You tell yourself you've done everything right, you prayed, you tried, you stayed patient. So why is life still standing still? That ache is part of the design. It's what softens the ego so the soul can learn to trust what it can't see. Every delay is an unseen classroom. While the mind says, I'm falling behind, the heart is being taught endurance, perspective, compassion. You start to see that the delay isn't wasted time. It's the space where Allah shapes you into someone who can carry the blessing without being crushed by it. If things came the instant you asked, you'd never learn to breathe between wanting and receiving. You'd never learn the beauty of becoming ready. The pause is where you find who you are without what you're waiting for. There will be mornings when the waiting feels unbearable. You look at others and wonder why their doors opened first. But every door has its own lock, and every lock has its own key. Yours is still being carved, perfectly fitted to your hand. The longer the delay, the deeper the design. Sometimes Allah hides the path so you'll stop chasing people and start chasing Him. Sometimes He slows you down so you'll notice the lessons you've been running past. He wants you to build roots, not just wings. In the silence of delay, you learn that faith isn't loud. It's quiet trust that keeps beating even when everything outside goes still. You start to realize that what's late to you is on time to Him. That's how divine timing works. It looks slow but moves with precision. You're not behind, you're being aligned. While you wait, something inside you grows stronger. The world may not see it, but the delay is sculpting your spirit. Every not yet is a brushstroke in a masterpiece that's not finished. One day the waiting will end. The thing you prayed for will arrive, and it will make sense why it couldn't have come sooner. You'll see how the detours protected you, how the pauses built you, how the silence healed you. You'll realize that delay was never a wall, it was a womb. It wasn't stopping your life, it was forming it. So stay steady, breathe through the pauses, keep your heart soft and your hope alive. Because the same delay that makes you cry today will one day make you whisper, it was worth every second. That's how you know it was design, not denial. Let Allah close the story. Sometimes we hold on to endings that were never ours to finish. We replay conversations. We rewrite messages that were never sent. We build imaginary closures that only reopen old wounds. But the truth is, you were never meant to write the last line. There comes a moment when you must stop trying to make sense of why it happened the way it did. Stop asking why they changed, why the door closed, why the silence arrived without warning. Because some stories are not written to be understood, they are written to be released. When Allah ends a chapter, He does it gently at first. He sends signs through small discomforts, through moments that no longer feel right, through people whose presence begins to drain your peace. And when you don't listen, He makes the ending louder until the pain becomes the only language left that can move you forward. You call it heartbreak. He calls it redirection. You call it loss. He calls it protection. We keep fighting for things that once felt like home, forgetting that not everything meant warmth was meant to last. Sometimes Allah removes what you thought was everything, so He can show you that peace was never supposed to depend on people. Let Him close the story. Don't rewrite what He erased trying to make sense of it. Don't chase people who left in peace. Don't reopen doors that He locked out of mercy. You may not understand it now, but one day you will thank Him for every unanswered prayer. Because the ending you resisted was the beginning you needed. When Allah closes a story, He does it with precision. He knows exactly when to separate you from what was dimming your light. He knows when to pull you out of a conversation that was turning into sin. He knows when to make silence fall so you can finally hear His voice. And the beauty is, He never closes one chapter without already writing another. You think the story is over because you can't see the next page. But the author has already written it, you just haven't reached it yet. You're not losing, you're being redirected toward peace that won't need fixing. You're not being punished, you're being prepared for people who won't make you beg to be understood. Let the past fade without trying to paint it gold. It served its purpose. It taught you, it broke you open enough for the light to enter. Now it's time to let go, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. The whisper you hear in your heart when you're tired of fighting. That gentle pull telling you to stop chasing and just breathe. That's not giving up. That's Allah telling you, let me finish this. When you stop trying to prove your worth to people who can't see it, you give Allah room to show you how much you were worth to Him all along. Every story ends differently than we imagine. Sometimes with pain, sometimes with distance, sometimes with silence. But every divine ending holds the same message. I removed what could have destroyed you, even if you still call it love. Don't demand closure from people who were never meant to give it. Closure isn't found in conversations, it's found in acceptance. It's found in trusting that Allah saw everything you didn't. One day, you look back at this moment and realize that the delay, the silence and the separation were not punishments, they were the rescue. He was removing what was temporary to make space for what is timeless. When He writes an ending, it's never abrupt, it's divine surgery. It hurts because He's cutting away what can't stay. But after every cut, He pours healing into the wound. So stop reopening what He already healed. Stop begging for explanations from people who don't have answers even for themselves. Your peace will not come from what left. It will come from the one who stayed. He was there when you broke down. He was there when you couldn't explain your pain. He was there when everyone else moved on and you still couldn't sleep. And He's here now whispering, let me close the story so I can write you something better. Sometimes closure doesn't mean understanding. It means walking away while the page is still blank, trusting that what's next will make the pain make sense. Let the chapter close. Don't run back to reread what hurt you. Don't keep highlighting old lines hoping they'll change. They won't, but you can. You can become someone who no longer needs to prove that they deserved better, because you now understand that you were the better all along. That's the secret of divine endings. They don't erase what happened. They elevate what's left of you. When Allah closes a story, He doesn't destroy, He transforms. He turns betrayal into boundaries, pain into prayer, loneliness into clarity. The people who left didn't take your destiny with them. They just made space for what's truly meant for you. You don't have to chase anymore. You don't have to beg for understanding. You don't have to rewrite the story. Just rest. Rest knowing that the one who writes your life never ends it in loss. He always ends it in light, even if that light comes after tears. The day will come when you look back and realize that door that closed didn't ruin your story, it saved your soul. When you finally stop fighting the ending, something changes inside you. The storm begins to calm, not because the pain disappears, but because you no longer resist it. You begin to understand that pain wasn't sent to destroy you, it was sent to direct you. And every time you tried to reopen what Allah already closed, you were only delaying your healing. There is a quiet strength that comes from surrender. It's not the strength that shouts, I'm fine. It's the strength that whispers, even if I'm not fine right now, I trust the one who's guiding me. That whisper is where faith lives. It's small, but it's powerful enough to rebuild your entire life. You see, we all want control. We want to edit our stories, fix the endings, and make people stay. But the truth is, Allah writes better stories than we do. He doesn't just end things, He completes them. And sometimes Completion looks like separation, silence, or loss. What's beautiful is that He never closes one door without already opening another. He just doesn't let you see it yet. Because if you saw what's next, you'd run ahead unprepared. So He hides it until your heart softens enough to handle it. You're not being punished for caring too much. You're being purified for something deeper. Allah removes people not to break your heart, but to expand it. He removes comfort not to make you suffer, but to make you see that peace was never supposed to depend on anything temporary. The hardest part is watching others walk away while you still feel attached. But even that pain is mercy, because every time someone leaves, Allah moves a little closer. He takes the space they occupied and fills it with His presence. And you begin to realize that He is the only one who never leaves halfway through the story. When Allah closes a story, He's not ending your worth, He's revealing it. He's showing you that your value was never meant to be proven through someone else's love, approval, or apology. You were complete long before they came, and you'll still be complete long after they're gone. And that's the quiet miracle of surrender. You stop chasing peace, and peace starts chasing you. You stop forcing outcomes, and outcomes start aligning. Because when you finally step aside, Allah steps in fully. Every ending you thought would kill you becomes a resurrection. You start breathing differently. You start loving differently. You start praying not for what you want, but for what's right. And in that shift, you begin to see the wisdom behind every closed door. The tears that once blinded you become proof of how deeply you felt. The heartbreak that once shattered you becomes evidence of how alive your heart still is. And the silence that once terrified you becomes the space where Allah whispers your next beginning. Let Him close it completely. Don't peek back. Don't wait for their apology. Don't hold on to what has already let go of you. You're not walking away in defeat, you're walking into protection. Because the ending you're grieving might be the very thing that saves you from something you can't yet see. And when Allah saves, He saves completely. One day, everything you're holding on to will make sense in reverse. You'll see why the rejection happened, why the distance was necessary, why the silence lasted so long. And in that realization, you'll smile not because it didn't hurt, but because you'll finally understand that His mercy was hidden in every moment of pain. The story ends where He wants it to end, not where your emotions demand it. And when He writes the last line, it's not a full stop, it's an invitation to a better chapter. You just haven't turned the page yet. Let Allah close the story. Because if you try to close it yourself, you'll keep reopening it every time loneliness whispers. But if He closes it, you'll never have to reopen it again. It will stay sealed in peace, wrapped in wisdom, protected by divine timing. So rest your heart, put down the pen, stop rewriting what was already written perfectly, and trust that when the author of your life finishes a chapter, He already knows how beautiful the next one will be. When it's finally over and your heart is still, you'll hear the golden whisper that lives at the end of every divine story. You were never alone, you were never forgotten, you were always being written into something greater. And that whisper will be enough. It will close every wound. It will silence every question. It will make every delay worth it. Because once Allah closes the story, peace begins. And this time, it will never end. When this video ends, don't rush to the next one. Just sit there for a moment in the stillness, because maybe this wasn't just a video, maybe this was your sign. You've been carrying stories that were never yours to finish. You've been trying to rewrite what Allah already wrote better than you ever could. And somewhere between the first word and this last whisper, something in you softened. That ache in your chest isn't weakness, it's release. It's your heart finally learning that peace doesn't come from understanding, it comes from surrender. So breathe. Let go of what didn't work out. Let go of the people who couldn't stay. Let go of the version of you that kept trying to control every ending. Because the moment you stop forcing closure, Allah begins to write beauty where you thought life had ended. Maybe this is the night you stop fighting the story. Maybe this is the night you finally whisper, my Lord, whatever you choose, I'm ready to trust it. And when you do, you'll notice something sacred. The silence you feared becomes the peace you've been praying for. The ending you cried over becomes the chapter that teaches you who you are. And the story you thought was over becomes the one that finally sets you free. So don't be sad that it's ending. Be grateful that you lived it, learned from it, and outgrew it. Because when Allah closes a story, He's already writing a better one. And this time, you won't have to chase it. It will find you in peace. Stay patient, stay soft. And when you can't see what's next,